Welcome to Momentum Monday. Today is April 25th, 2021. Howard,
What's up, buddy?
what's your location right now?
South Beach, Miami.
South Beach, Miami.
Yeah, it's a show. Thanks for working around my schedule today.
What's going on in Miami?
The humidity, man, it's not good.
Help with losing weight, right?
Oh my God, it's so humid. Your hair would just. I think we're wearing the same shirt,
Almost.
black. So how's I miss San Diego? How's San Diego?
A little cooler, but beautiful as usual.
All right, yeah, I had fun day. Fun day. I got kicked out of. I was seeing some friends. I got kicked out for wearing flip flops. So it's a little fancy dancy here in Miami. Can you imagine that happening in San Diego? I don't think so.
It depends on the place.
All right.
All right. Let me share my screen so we go to the markets real quick. So we are at the beginning of the new earnings season. And as we talked last week, it's very likely to remain in a range until the bulk of earnings are reported. And that back and forth price action that we saw last week is kind of exactly what I expected. We basically had a Christmas lights market, one day up, the next day down, and then up and down again. But at the end of the day, the large cap indices are near all-time highs. The small cap Russell 2000 is also looking constructively back above its 50-day setting up that sell-off earlier last week. Kind of count for nothing at this point. It reversed, and it's probably it'll be stuck in a range for a while, at least for the next few weeks, until as it's building new base. The interesting thing last week is that many of the beaten down former momentum stocks kind of woke up. We're talking clean energy, kind of bouncing from their 200-day. Some of the Chinese stocks bounced. In emerging market, obviously, some of them are still below their declining 50-day moving average. We continue to see rotations between sectors. The one common theme that kind of remains for the past few weeks is the weak US dollar. The US dollar continues to lose ground.
Yeah.
Downtrend.
Yeah, if you look at the crypto space, even though Bitcoin is selling off a little bit, Ivan, you can see the hard assets, even gold's starting to firm, but the trusted hard, and when I say trusted, I'm not starting to think crypto because I trust the supply of Bitcoin being firmer than the supply of gold, and I think that's really what's driving Bitcoin. It's kind of young kids don't care what the people on old financial media are saying. I think they've just accepted. My daughter, I think Bitcoin dipped below 50,000, and my daughter was buying a little bit, on Sunday night. If you look at Coinbase, it's nothing but sold off since the opening print. That's what happens at direct listings. So while all this is happening in growth, there was at a low close on Coinbase. So of course Bitcoin's going to sell off. They're probably going to be very correlated for the time being, but the market stays strong because there's just this rotation. If you look at the transports, I was looking at the transport, was it like 12? This is like a record streak of highs. And, I'm trying to form fit what's going on. And I'm talking to so many friends in New York. I got my daughter moving there. We found her an apartment, which was like harder than getting a green card. It seemed like you're trying to throw money into that city, and it's just
how much is the rent right now there?
She's paying for a 1-bathroom, 2-bedroom, 3,400 a month, with like first and last month up front, like so many rules. And I'm like, I was trying to pay the whole year up front. who the hell wouldn't want the whole year up front? Well, and you can't even do that. I don't know. There's so many rules, right? And then even in Florida, where like no taxes, no rules, I couldn't get into like a club with my friends for their birthday today because I was wearing sandals, you know? But like the girl next to me had ripped jeans and sandals, and she got it. So it's good to be a woman. If you want to go to clubs, but anyways, I got sidetracked. Look at the transportation. I think what's happening here is in talking. Miami's different. It's like roaring 20s, but the rest of the country is just feels dazed and confused at this point. But what isn't confused is the services that needed to survive and deliver have completely altered their business. So even New York restaurants, my friends are saying everything's different because the kitchens have been reformulated to get their meal count up by delivering. And so the quality of the food at the restaurant, even though they're open, is down, like the good restaurant. So it's a bit, when you close stuff for 14 months, going on, soon 2 years, it'll seem like these businesses adapt, and so even though everybody wants to go back to normal, things can't go back to normal. When I look at the transportation index, you're thinking, how is this working? Well, because life goes on. People deliver stuff to their home. Look at Restoration Hardware. I mean, my worst idea of all time getting out of that.
There, just real quick, talking about transportation. I mean, even railroads, super strong, all of them, and also marine shipping.
Because people want their shit. People still want their shit, and people are putting their money into their homes. Toronto's shut down, and I don't know why real estate prices are going up because people are investing more in their homes. But if I look at Restoration Hardware, I'm like, go back and look at a weekly. I mean, you haven't even had a chance. There was a brief dip in March, but I mean, just shoot me. There's too many bearish people. There's too much money. The U.S. dollar is weak. People aren't stupid. They're stocking up on assets that they want out of the dollar, and they just want assets, and they want digital assets too, because if you look at there's the amount of risk people are taking, and again, this stuff may just flip on everybody, but if you look at Ethereum and Solana, I've been talking about a bunch of these, they're ripping, and they're ripping relative to Bitcoin. And it's not every coin. So it's not the same as 2017 in the crypto space. It's very different. And people are actually focused on chains and protocols that actually have use. They may not have revenue, but they have use. So you got transportation's working. I looked at Silicon Valley Bank, SVB.
They're very strong too, yeah.
Oh my God. I think it's SVB, Ivan. Oh no, there you go. Okay. I don't that is not a bear market. That is just people just are dying to get into this stuff. So and if I look at Goldman Sachs, same thing. It just won't let people in. It's digesting those huge gains, and and if you think about the Chris, I shared a link to Chris Dixon's interview with Patrick O'Shaughnessy. Um, if you really start thinking about uh, these protocols, they're additive to the internet. So if you look at Google and Facebook, they're when you think of the internet, good or bad, you think of Google, which is not letting anybody in, and you think of Facebook, also very much working, and then Apple, is unstoppable. They had a huge run, $2 trillion, digesting these gains, looks very strong here, right? And their double credit card, their credit card launch was insane. The new colors, in a world of Restoration Hardware and Fashology, the new color iMacs are going to be insanely popular. Um, so again, valuations aside, which are going to, I can't figure out, the market still looks pretty healthy. but it's rotational. Oh, and then I was looking at McDonald's, which, finally in my 8 to 80 is starting to break out too. I mean, that is just very strong. And if you go through a McDonald's drive-through, I mean, the experience is phenomenal. Like, so phenomenal.
I'll take your word for it.
It's phenomenal. The coffee's great, ice cream's great. The breakfast, one burrito quickly on the fly, clean, easy. The volume at the drive-through. I mean, these things matter, right? Like, I don't want to go into McDonald's. I never wanted to go into a McDonald's, and now it's just so easy to whip through a McDonald's. And I know my calories. I know what's bad for me. Everything's like digestible and on the go. And then if I think about Uber and all these food delivery places, I think it's a ripoff. But these kids don't mind.
Well,
Look at,
because they don't know any better, Howard.
I just think they know what they want. And so, anyways, the tape looks pretty good, but at the same time, I don't know. What do you see any short setups? Like, did anything stand out to you?
Not this week. Last week I mentioned a few, and they worked well at the beginning of the week. But this week I rather just it's mostly long setups that I see. And as I said, it's a very big week for earnings. All the big tech reports: Amazon, Apple, Facebook, Google, Tesla, and $500. The next 3 weeks are very heavy earnings reporting,
Yeah.
and that's why I think that we'll see a lot of digestion in the next 3 weeks, and then after that, very likely continuation.
I thought the most interesting chart was from Ryan Dietrich. I shared with you. I don't know if you can pull it up about growth versus value.
I have it just 1 second.
I don't want to overthink this market. There's just,
Yeah.
but I think this is important. I mean, again, I'm not like, I just try and find great companies that are growing really fast. But Ryan's a great thinker about markets, and the 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 value stocks, the growth stocks look heavy, but there's enough good growth stocks for stock pickers that are working. It seems that mostly the software stocks and select internet are weak, or at least
Some of
side.
them. Others are back near all-time highs. I mean, look at HubSpot near all-time highs, Okta near all-time highs. So some of them have bounced and they're back near all-time highs. So it's normal for those stocks to diverge. I mean, some will continue, others will go down. And then we have some of the new issues. For example, this company, why is it not loading? Paths, AI Paths, which is a new IPO in the RPA, robotic processing automation. That's a high growth industry. The IPO was accepted really well. This is something that I would watch on pullbacks and consolidation. So we continue to see new, interesting, high growth companies in software. So I wouldn't just write off that sector.
No, I'm saying it's a good stock pickers market. It's not just growth versus value. That's what I was trying to say. Like,
Exactly. There are opportunities everywhere. It's not just railroads, transportation. There are also a lot of the newer companies and new tech that are looking good and setting up. So semiconductors are also looking constructive, setting up for another potential breakout here.
Yep.
All the metal stocks, anything industrial metal, steel, aluminum, copper, they're all kind of looking the same. You can say that they're kind of in their inflation plays. That sell-off on Thursday, based on rumor that Biden wants to raise the capital gain tax, just lasted 1 day. I mean, there's so much money in the system. Where are you going to put your money? You're not going to keep it in the bank.
No, but it don't matter. Listen, we got what we paid for. People wanted Trump out, myself included, and you knew what you were going to get in Biden, and they're going to hopefully cooler heads prevail, but like they want to raise the taxes. I don't believe in raising capital gains, but you know, they got to get creative, but you can't expect the government to get creative. They're a blunt hammer. Um, I don't love Florida, but everywhere I go, it's chaos, right? It's kind of like there's no code. There's like a nothing and then a high rise, nothing and then a high. Like it's like kind of like Beijing meets America meets humidity, and it's pretty funny because I don't like the look of any of the buildings, but like there's something to be said about freedom and chaos and like doing exactly what you want. But it's not perfect. It's just different.
If you were
But
25 right now, would you move to Miami today?
yeah, I mean, again, if you were rich and you were wanting to protect your income and you could work from wherever you want, I can't see why it's horrible. I mean, if you can live near the beach. Um, but again, all the people leaving California or at least the people I know leaving, are people that lived there in the last 20 years. They're not people that grew up there, right? It's hard to leave California, um, especially if you're near the beach. Um, but again, it's like it's America. It's a big country. If you want to pay lower taxes, that's kind of the cool thing. I think what you're going to see here with so many states, being different is there's just going to be weird migration patterns for the next. COVID's going to set up these weird U.S. migration patterns. So we're really going to see people, especially with Zoom and Slack, um, these kids will move and other people will move. America's a big country. And so I think with the federal government in disarray, certain states will be able to be creative. But, people have to do their homework and really figure out where they want to live. But there's just a lot of choices right now. But if you're young, I think Florida is interesting. It's just a question of are there you know, enough jobs. And in a world where a lot of these tech companies don't care where you work, I think it's going to be hard to stop Florida because taxes do matter.
Yeah.
And, I'd have to advise a young kid. I mean, my daughter, I want her to be in New York because you should live in New York if you have a chance to. But if you care about wealth accumulation, right, paying 15% taxes versus paying zero taxes makes a difference. And if you're in the accumulation, state taxes, I mean, if you're in the accumulation business, or if you have a tax event coming. So you can't begrudge a young person for taking advantage of that. And it's almost stupid not to. So I think if you're a young kid, I mean, it really matters. Like in Toronto, my nieces and nephews, I mean, it's brutal there to pay the government those kind of taxes. And if you can't leave and you don't have the choice, whereas Americans have a choice. So I would say yes, young people should think about low tax places. And you've got what, Wyoming, you've got Texas, you got Florida, Utah's lower, Colorado's lower taxes. So yeah, so Ivan, I don't know. You have a lot more freedom,
Puerto
but
Rico,
you,
right?
what's that?
Puerto Rico, right? They have zero there.
Or Nevada, but you have choices and you still choose San Diego. So
Yeah.
again, there's nothing wrong with living where you want, but at the same time, if you're in the accumulation business and lifestyle is not the number one thing on your list, then you should consider a zero state tax place. Anyway,
Yeah.
have a good week. I'll be back in Phoenix next week,
All
and then I'll see you in San Diego soon.
all right, Robert, bye.